Hi, I'm Mindy Raymond with The Adventures of Pepper and Paula. I play the lead actress, Paula. Pistol Packin' Paula is her stage name. And a little bit about the film, it's based on a true story. Paula lives in Boerne, Texas, which is where we shot the film at Enchanted Springs Ranch. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that ranch, but it's a great family attraction, and she works there as an entertainer. And Paula herself is a 2-time world gun spinning champion. She's the first female to ever win a gun spinning champion contest. And so I got to play her in this great family film. And we have some adventures, as the title says, and a lot of the story takes place on the ranch and then with her dog, Pepper, who's also a real life dog. So. Yeah, I guess questions, yes.
What was it like playing a real person as opposed to just a character?
I'm very fortunate and one of the few actors that actually get to play a person who was with me every day while we were shooting it. So it was really cool to see her life. She was still running the ranch and she was still taking care of the animals and still doing her show. And so I got to see firsthand how her life was, there on the ranch, and then just to play her and to tell her story. It was awesome. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I got to work with her. I met her about 2 weeks before we started shooting, and she trained me heavily on spinning guns, which I needed to learn how to do in a very short amount of time. And so she was a very good teacher and taught me how to do that, and bullwhip and lasso, and I was familiar with riding horses, but not like she was, so I had to ride horses even more. And it was a short kind of time period to get to know this person, but fortunately she was with us while we were filming, so it was awesome. It was, like I said, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and she's been with us through this whole experience, and it's been neat seeing her story told on the big screen and how she feels about that. It's pretty life-changing for her too, so yeah, it was great. Yes, sir.
Any plans to use all those new skills you picked up?
I hope so, either in a sequel or in a TV series. They're starting to write one right now, actually, a TV series for her. So that's kind of the next step, I think, with this film, is hopefully someone likes it enough that picks it up for a series, because there's a lot to be told. It's a unique story, and yeah, the gun spinning is definitely something I could use, hopefully, in that venue, but other than that, no. There's not too many opportunities to spin my guns. So, yes, sir.
What was it like working with Pepper the dog?
It was awesome. Fortunately, we had a dog that was very well trained. I don't know, the dog's name is Uno, and Uno has about a 5-minute YouTube clip on all the tricks it can do, so this dog's just brilliant, and anything you tell it to do, like, it's instant. It's one of these border collies, super smart dogs. So it was pretty cool. The real Pepper was there on set as well, and the real Pepper is kind of an older dog and a little curmudgeon, and so I think he would get a little jealous every once in a while because the new Pepper was getting a lot of attention. But yeah, the owner was great. Being on set with a dog, they say, you should never work in a film with children and dogs, and we had both, a lot of both. So, but the Nations, who are the directors and producers on this, have worked with dogs and children before, so they kind of knew what they wanted to do. And Uno was the first time working with them, and they said they'd definitely use Uno again because this dog was just amazing. I mean, the dog would get it in one take. Like, we didn't have too many takes. We didn't have to wait a lot on the dog. It was more the humans. So, yes, sir.
I want to talk a little bit more about the directing duo of Kevin and Robin. It's kind of a unique scenario for filmmaking. How does that differ from your past experiences, and what was more positive about it as far as having that type of a dynamic?
Fortunately, they've worked on a lot of films together, so now they kind of are a well-oiled machine. And they have a team of people, their producers, Buddy and Perla, they've worked with before. The second camera, Kevin Sloan, they've worked with before. So you get on set, the lighting, the grips, everyone's worked on their previous productions. So it's very much like they know exactly how to run this machine. And Kevin and Robin are unique because, yeah, one, they're married, and two, they work so well together. Any arguments or any disagreements that they've had, you never saw it as an actor. They would take that elsewhere. And so when they were on set working with us, it was a team effort. They knew exactly what they wanted. They take a lot of time doing pre-production. So even though we had 1 month to shoot this film, it was super smooth. Every day, we made every day. We were there the exact hours that they said we would be. Rarely did we have to reshoot scenes. I went back for one day of reshoot just because they needed an extra scene, but that was it. And it was a half-day shoot. So Kevin and Robin, they're awesome to work with. They're an amazing team. They work well together. Like I said, they have similar ideas, similar looks. They know what they're going for. Robin edited the film, so she knew exactly what she was wanting as we're shooting. And it was a great experience, and hopefully we'll get to work with them again. So, yes, sir.
You said you actually worked with Paula a lot. She trained. What was it like working with her? Because she had some amazing stories from you.
Oh,
real life adventures that she's had.
Yeah, she's a character. Like, most of what Richard wrote in the script is based 100% on Paula and her life. The love interest, if you guys haven't seen the movie or when you do see it, the love interest is the only thing that's not true to story, and Paula's hoping someday that will come to fruition. But she's been doing this for 25 years. And just being kind of in a man's world, basically what happened was she was doing stunts, and she really got turned on to these kind of spinning guns, and the guys were like, oh, your hands are too small, you'll never be able to do it. And she was like, well, I'll prove you wrong, and I'll win world champions doing it. Not only am I just gonna learn how to spin guns, I'm gonna be the best in the world. So she's definitely one that takes whatever goal and dream that she has and makes it happen. Like, she works her butt off. So it was a pleasure. She would be the first one up in the morning doing chores, running the ranch, feeding the animals, and the last one to leave, like making sure the ranch still looked good and was clean, and then all the while helping us kind of throughout the film, doing stunt doubling for me, making sure she would, if we needed something on the ranch that we didn't have, she would go and get it. And I mean, she just wore about 15 hats, and that's her typical life. So yeah, she's pretty cool. So anything else? Yeah.
Is there another level of nuance playing someone who has a live performative aspect of their identity and then also a home life?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was challenging for me because just as an actor, it was an actor playing a real life person, but then also having to act in a show that was in the movie. And so yeah, you have this whole other level of like your performance persona, and then your kind of real life persona that you're acting or you're portraying. So I struggled a few days for the first few times on how big to go for the performance, so it didn't seem like I was an actor acting, but I was trying to play this real life person who was performing in front of a bunch of people. And I think by probably the fourth or fifth day, I sort of got into the groove of who was my persona when I was performing as Pistol Pack and Paula, and then who was Paula. And it definitely took some time and just kind of being in the skin for a while before I got that. And all of us on set, actually, all the actors talked about that, because all of us were performing and then we were playing real people as well. So it took a few days for us to get those characters and kind of sink in a little bit. And then obviously by the end of it, one of the last days that we shot was kind of the last scenes of the movie, and so it worked out well because we had all really been in these characters and playing these personas, and so it was fun. But yeah, I went a little big on the performance side, a little more country. So anything else? It's a great. How many people have you guys seen the film yet? No? You'll
Question.
Oh, yes.
How much did you know about Wild West shows before you did this movie? I mean, did you do any research about the history of them?
When I got the call to audition for her, I quickly did research on Paula and who she was and saw her performance. But I was not familiar with her. I wasn't familiar with the ranch. So it was a lot of very quick learning experience. Like I said, the 2 weeks prior, and then just being on the ranch every day, driving into this working ranch that was a live West show, and they would do stunt shows while we're filming. So I was learning as I was going, and now I have a whole newfound respect for it because it's serious stuff, and it's kind of a dying art. I feel like there's not as many Wild West shows really anywhere.
I feel like you could probably add that to your resume if you're outside of being an actress.
Yeah.
You could do all this.
Plus, if anyone needs a gun spinner, I'm not nearly as good though. I need a stunt double to come in for me actually to do that. But yeah, it's a neat, I don't know, I feel like that art form is kind of going down a little bit, and it's sad because it's really neat. But yeah, yes sir.
Any temptation to hold on to any of the props? Just curious.
Yes.
Maybe they just,
I got a hat actually. The hat that I wear in the movie, the big Pistol Pack and Paula hat, is one I got to keep. So
I don't feel like things would conveniently disappear.
yeah,
Memoirs.
yeah. Something always kind of disappears from set. It seems like all of a sudden you have a little trinket, but yeah, I got that. Wear the hat, and I have a 2-year-old son that wears it around the house, and it's this huge, big cowgirl hat. But yeah. So, anything else?
Any scenes that were particularly hard to do?
The last scene that we shot, or one of the last scenes, like I said, that big kind of performance scene, it was on record the coldest night in Texas history. Like, it was freezing cold, and it was an overnight shoot, and we had 50 extras who were there not being paid, and it was challenging. I mean, we couldn't even feel our hands, let alone try and like spin guns and talk. And you can kind of see now that you know this, you'll see it in the film, you'll be like, yeah, they're definitely red-nosed and like freezing. And what the wardrobe didn't take into account how cold it would actually be the night that we were shooting that scene, so our wardrobe is just not much. Especially the gal who plays my nemesis in the show. She's not wearing a lot, so that was challenging. And it was supposed to be an overnight shoot. Unfortunately, they kind of cut it early for us because it was just too cold and no one was going to be working that night. So we rescheduled for the next day. But yeah.
Do you have time for one more question?
Yes.
Perhaps in conclusion, give us about the difference between the romance in the movie versus what real characters hoping for in the future that you were talking about? Is that something we need to kind of wait and see?
Paula, the good and the bad of Paula is that she has worked 24/7 and has really made her dream a reality as far as being the best gun spinner and being this amazing performer. But when you do that, as you guys know, a lot of times when your career takes hold, your personal life goes to the wayside. So she hasn't had a lot of time for that. She's been traveling a lot. She hasn't been able to plant roots. And Richard, the writer, wanted to really kind of create this love interest for Paula, have a little bit more of a romantic side to her than what is reality, I think. And far as she's hoping for that, she's keeping her fingers crossed, but you know, she's still working her butt off, so who knows what'll happen. But hopefully some Prince Charming will come and sweep her off her feet, like what happens in the movie. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. But yeah, hopefully you guys can go see it, and it's great for all ages. It's a really neat family film. We already have distribution, so it's going to be coming out May 12th on VOD and DVD, so check that out. And obviously at the Dallas Film Festival in April. So